All right, so now we got all attached, and you got the holes for where you previously had the brackets. So basically, in this case, because you're just swapping brackets, or if it's a new install, then you'd have to figure out and line this all up. But in my case here, because the holes are all existing, it's really simple to put it back on. So I just put the bracket on a nice angle downwards that you know, you can get the screwdriver in if it's being pinched or whatnot, or tight. You can't do that. One other thing I'd like to do is actually pull that cable back out so you can slide it out of the way to do this, and you just put the cable back in when we're finished. So just put the screw in through. I just do one, keep it loose, and get it started. And I actually like to, on mine I got the big washer, and then I also have a lock washer on there just to keep extra tension on the bracket from the starboard that, you know, it's not going to ever want to work its way loose or anything like that. It keeps pressure on the bolt or the screw there, and you're good. So just put it back on there. You don't have to, once you get it tight, you don't have to hold the bracket up anymore. Screw it back down, and that's roughly where it was on the transom before on my starboard. So tighten them up. And so then you take your 9/16 wrench, and you kind of want to level it, figure out your height, of course. There's lots of other videos on YouTube explaining how to level a transducer of the water with a little coin trick or whatnot, but I won't get into that in this video. But I know approximately mine's at an angle like this. So I just hold it up with my knee, and we've already got that nut actually lubed up there, so it's going to turn nice. And just going to crank it down until it gets to the point that, you know, it's just starting to get snug. And I'm going to explain two different ways you can set these transducers up here. So there we go. So that's holding in place there. So then just run that grommet back up there. Put it back in. Perfect. So you get nice management of the wire here. Nothing, it comes out the back and goes straight up. There's no cables flopping anywhere. There's nothing to be pinched. If your transducer, it's still kind of loose here, so I can move it. If your transducer were to move, it's not going to pinch the wire anywhere. So that's really nice that way. So as far as leveling wise here, what I recommend is, say this was where I want it set up. This was working perfect for me. So, and I was getting good clean arches and everything was nice, straight and true. So this is where it's going to read all the time. So then I just take that little locating notch there, make your Sharpie mark right beside it, and let that dry with the waterproof, waterproof marker dry up. And then, you know, you go in the lake for the day, you pull it out, quick glance, especially when you first do it, because when you first install the transducer, that's the time when, if you don't have it quite tight enough, it could actually move up and down. And don't ask me why this happens, but these transducers, they always, I find, when you're running full tilt, you'd think they want to come up, but they actually want to go down. And it's bizarre. You can reset them, and they always want to work their way down. I don't know why that is, just the way the water pressure works. I have no idea. I'm not a scientist or anything like that, so I'm kind of clueless in that department, but it's just something I found. So, so there's two different ways you could do this. You could actually tighten it down. If you're in the Great Lakes like I am, you know, you're not going to be in around stumps or anything like that. You're not worried about hitting floating debris or anything. Basically, if I were to hit a log, I'd be more concerned about hitting my motor or prop than the transducer. That's a lot more expensive than the transducer. So I typically will actually torque it right down, and you can go to 30 foot-pounds. So that's pretty tight. That gets to the point that as much pressure, I'm putting a lot of pressure on that, you will not move the bracket. That's one way to do it. The other way is I will keep it just a little bit there, kind of just tighten it up until it just gets nice and snug. And then, going the wrong way. So basically, it's nice and snug right there. It's movable and all that stuff. This one, you actually have to do while it's in the water, because what happens with stainless steel, water acts as a lubricant in between these joints. So it could be tight on shore when it's all dried out. Second, you put it in the water, water gets in there and lubes everything up, and all of a sudden this is now easier to move. So you can either do it right at the boat launch, you can jump into the water, just tighten these up just a little bit, see if it actually moves or anything like that, and just tighten it down that you can do it, lay over the back of the transom, whatever. It's pretty easy to do. You don't have to reach down too far to do it, and your arms aren't in the water too much, but just tighten it down enough that you actually, with normal pressure like this, it won't move. But if you were to come and hit a log or anything, and you back up and you hit a stump or anything like that, if you're a bass guy or whatnot, it doesn't take much to actually have enough pressure then. Like here, it's pretty tight all the time. The normal running and all that stuff won't move, but as soon as you go back up, hit something, and you jar it, it'll move out of the way. So that's one way to do it. And then again, you'll get this little locating mark there that you can set it all back up and tighten it up. So, but like I say, I like to tighten it up solid, and the bracket's actually moving a bit there. I did not tighten the sides up tight enough. So there we go. Tighten those 3 screws up again there, and away you go. So it's all set up, and you're good to go. So you can adjust it however high up you want it. And I always find that the lower it is into the water, the better arches you're going to get, and you can actually read its speed with these transducers. A lot of people struggle with them, but I've always found drop it a little bit lower than you want, and get perfect arches. And if you're getting a lot of spray or anything like that, you can just raise it up until the spray's gone. But yeah, they work really well, and full adjustability. You don't have to worry about shimming or anything like that. So that's pretty much the installation. And thanks again for watching, and thanks again for purchasing one.